possible through that last turn. He was smart and calculated throughout the track, dove in on the last turn, put the car where it needed to be.
And that's another thing we'd like to talk about. Most of these drivers have somebody out there in the stands with you guys casually telling the drivers where they're messing up and where they're doing really well. They also pay attention to the other drivers so they can give feedback on where and when to attack, like Greg was just talking about. A little bit of an understeer situation going on.
Very much a pucker situation. He is going way faster than he was in yesterday's practice, trying to get the car out there to put him up on a high qualifying score, and he is struggling to find that line. My advice for him is maybe take the rear spoiler off. I don't know if that's going to fix it or not, but
way too much downforce.
Too much spoiler.
Now, if you guys have friends and family out there that want to watch some drifting and they want to hang out with you, but they can't be here at LS Fest Texas, we will be streaming this on the old YouTubes. You can head over to Holley's YouTube channel and log in. We'll be live streaming from 11:45 for the Drift Challenge.
Lex is out there really fighting the Corvette. Every pass he goes by, he's missing another body panel. Yesterday, he shredded a headlight, a fender, piece of fiberglass that was unrecognizable to all of us.
That does happen. Body panels are optional on these cars. They do tend to get bumped and bruised and broken and fly off, and they hit cones at 90 miles an hour and tend to explode. But we got zip ties and we got duct tape, and we'll put them back on and do it again.
Yeah, we're asking these drivers to be as close as possible to each other during competition. We want to see tires on doors. We want to see where you can't put a piece of paper in between the gaps of the cars, and that's how you're going to move on through this competition. So we are going to be going through body panels through today.
To see that kind of aggression. He is all up in his business. See, that's exactly where you want to be, to not be in the smoke line, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, if you don't know a whole lot about drifting, you know what's exciting, and that was a good run by them. Tire dropping on that first outer zone right in front of us, winding up right on the door throughout the last turn. That was a proper chase run, absolutely.
I'm glad the crowd is liking what we're liking up here, and it's also going to be what our judges up there are going to be liking. They're going to want to see that proximity. You got to get as close as you can without touching the other car. And if you give them a little scrub, that's fine. You don't want to hit them. You don't want to pass them. This isn't who's fastest. This is who can mimic the other driver the best.
Kind of like figure skating. A manlier form of figure skating, actually. Out there in that beautiful black and green S13. Looks like he's starting to figure out the track. He was struggling the first couple sessions out here.
First
today.
couple of laps were a little wobbly, a little bit of understeer, but he definitely nailed that one.
Throttle down, brother. If you can't get to the zone, just give it a little bit more gas. He left the spoiler on, did not take my advice, but he hammered down. I think that's
that right foot is a very, very important tool in drifting. Just smash the gas and let it eat.
There we go, Lee. I think that's one of Lee's best laps that we see from him all weekend. That's C6.
Agreed. Maybe they've lost enough body panels to lighten up the car to get it to a point where it doesn't have as much grip. Now, speaking of grip levels, these are, contrary to popular belief, we're not out here trying to just slip around, even though it looks like we're out here trying to slip around. These guys are chasing every ounce of both mechanical and tire grip that they possibly can. They dial in the suspension. The alignments are insane. A lot of these cars are running close to an inch of toe in the rear. And for those of you that don't know what that is, it kind of makes the car uncontrollable in a straight line, but we're not going in a straight line. We're drifting. And that makes the car grippy during when it's sideways through transitions, and it wants to pull the car forward the entire time it's going down the racetrack. So very, very aggressive, very difficult cars to drive. And as you can see, his car is so gripped up, his front tire was just kind of skirting across the ground there, making little puffs of smoke as he left foot brakes across this corner. He's probably doing close to 60 miles an hour across this front straight in front of the judging tower, which is absolutely insane.
Another thing I want to point out, these cars are all on a spec tire right here. They can run a maximum of a 275 rear tire, but everybody has to be on a 200 tread wear tire as well. So these are DOT approved tires that you can drive on the street out here on these cars.
Which is an advantage for the guys with the lower horsepower, but it's a disadvantage for the guys with the higher horsepower. Some of these cars out here are approaching quad digits. There's a couple of cars out here with 900 plus horsepower. That's a 10-second car going sideways. This is like drag racing with a prize at the end where you chuck the car to the left or to the right.
Takes a lot of talent and a little bit of skill and a lot of luck as well to get the car around this track. Taylor holding down the chase position. This is going to be a run to watch. All over the door, that beautiful S14. Smart, calculated, perfect transition. Taylor almost looping the car back on throttle. All over that S14.
Taylor Hall out there being very aggressive. It's like he lost his hood and gained some more right foot.
Big bully. Jake Little out there in this C6. It's the green C6 that we're seeing up on the big screen. He has been getting very, very comfortable in this car. He's got RTS Rick out there in his pits, a pro in the season of drifting. He's really got this car hooked up now, looking way more comfortable than yesterday. Got up against Lex in his C6.
Now this is an interesting battle. That's like 3/4 of a Corvette versus a full Corvette.
Yeah, the full Corvette's definitely shining a little bit brighter, I will say that much. Hand out the window by Lex saying, good job, mid-drift.
Stoked on that run. Not stoked on the amount of fenders he's going to have to buy after this event. Big shout out to our track staff. Not only just our beautiful judges up there in the tower, but the guys keeping the show running. We got our start line guys, we got our guys picking up cones. If we did not have that, this show would not go on. So we love those guys very, very much and appreciate everything they do for us at the Drift Challenge.
I want to remind you guys that those green cones have to pick it up. Those are clipping points. That's where we want to see the lead driver put their car. So if you see them on the inside of the track, we want to see the front bumper as close as possible to those inner clips or green cones. The green cones on the front side of the track or on the outsides of the turns, those are outer zones. We want to see the rear bumper on those. So that's going to set the pace for the chase driver to follow. Little Tex, Nate Hamilton putting on the
both guys
man.
yard sailing off the racetrack.
Trying to take the shortcut back to Buc-ee's.
I can't say that I disagree with them.
No, it's delicious.
Buc-ee's got the meats.
They have everything you'd ever want there. You want a couch for your house? They got it. You want a brisket sandwich? They got it. You want a belt buckle? They got
Hunting
it.
blind? Check.
Right.
Corn feed? Check.
Double check.
It's a Texas thing. We love it.
I love Texas. I also want to point out that we have the world's biggest television here in Texas right in front of us. Everybody sees it. The Sphere in Las
How
Vegas
can you
does
not
count.
see it? It's
No,
right there.
The Sphere's not a TV. That is round shaped. Nobody has a round TV at home. It's disqualified. That's the world's biggest TV.
There it is.
I barely see Nate down there. Did he sink into the grass? I just see a little roof.
Lil Tex getting out of his car. Looks like there's some sort of suspension issue going on. Maybe a broken tie rod. Something to make the car not able to drive off under its own power, which is hugely unfortunate because Nate has been absolutely on a tear, both in lead and follow. So hopefully they can get that thing back up and running. They do have a little bit of time before we start qualification. So
Lengthen to the dirt. Lengthen to the dirt.
now keep in mind, we will be going straight into qualification after this, so as soon as we can get Little Tex off the course, I do believe we will be going straight into qualification, which means you will be alongside us for the ride of our judging. You'll kind of learn what it takes to be that #1 qualifier. Everybody always shooting for that P1. That means in our bracket, in our top 16, the first place qualifier goes up against the last place qualifier, which is going to be 16th, and then it goes 2nd and 15th all the way down. Once we have that, we pair those guys up, and they get to do battle. That's going to be later at
Getting ready for qualifying. We're going to roll straight into qualifying once we get Nate Hamilton towed off the track. Getting ready for qualifying. We're going to roll straight into qualifying once we get Nate Hamilton towed off the track.
So if you guys wanted to go get a snack, if you wanted to get some drinks, if you wanted to go buy some merch or visit a vendor, now is the time to do so. We will be back live at noon for qualification once we get the track re-prepped and we get Lil Tex off of it. We're hanging out here at the Drift Challenge at LS Fest Texas. It's a beautiful day. We're glad to have you out here hanging out with us, watching some skids, watching some drifting. We're going to have an absolute blast today, and we'd love to take you along the ride. So make sure to come back at noon to watch our qualification.
going on again later on today, 5:30 in the corner of the track. Gorgeous looking cars, and they just want to burn them down to the ground.
Burn them down. You talk about heavy right foot. The Burnout Wars is literally the epitome of that.
I don't even think they have brakes. It's not needed.
It's not a real thing.
No, not at all. They just
Bluetooth.
I don't even
Bluetooth.
understand the rules. It's just keep on going until you're done.
Or something catches on fire or explodes. And that's kind of the point.
I had to ask you the other day. I said, why do all these cars have Silverado rear tires? And it says, because you just burn it down to the rim. Just keep on lighting them up until either the tires or the engine catches fire.
You know what rims are made of? Metal. And you know what metal does? Throws sparks. And that's pretty cool.
So exciting.
But that's not what we're doing right now. We're doing the Drift Challenge at Holley LS Fest. We're about to get into our first qualification run. Pulling up our spreadsheets here, doing some quick math.
Looks like Justin Chestnut's at the line, going to be our first qualifier coming through the chicane. We're going to want to see his rear tires fill this touch and go right there. You're seeing to the track right, to an inner clip on track left, and another inner to 2 outer zones. Let's see what he puts down.
Nice entry from Justin Chestnut as he rounds out the back half of this course. It takes an extreme amount of commitment to hit that outer zone, and he is missing it completely on that outer. He was about 2 feet shy of where he needed to go. It was a good run, but it was not his best run. We've definitely seen him do better through the weekend, but he does have one more shot. Each of these drivers gets 2 chances to show our judges and you guys, the crowd, what they've got.
That's right. We're going to do 2 back-to-back consecutive runs for qualifying. We're going to choose the higher of the qualifying scores. That's going to place him in the bracket. And you're right. He wasn't on the proper line for the car, but he did have proper throttle commitment. He was right foot down throughout most of the run, making sure he got the speed throughout the track to reach that last turn. You have to carry a lot of speed to link that last turn. It's a big sweeper.
This is a track on hard mode. This is the fastest entries. I think some of these guys are hitting close to triple digits. We probably have some guys getting into the mid to high 90s, probably on average high 80s. But if you can imagine going freeway speeds and then just chucking the car sideways, that's what this feels like. And then you have to control and maintain that all the way through without going off the edge. So it is an extremely difficult track, especially speed-wise for these drivers. And a lot of these guys have enough horsepower to do it. And Justin Chestnut about to go on his second run. Let's see what he does as he barrels down the front straightaway, chucks it in, little shallow on that front touch and go, knocks the front inner clip over and is outside for the second zone.
Relying very heavy on that handbrake there to set him up into the outer zone, going into the last turn, putting on a smoke screen, right foot down, putting a little bit more angle into the car at the latter half of the track as well, trying to max out those style points. I'm really interested to see what the judges think of that. Again, I don't think he was where he needed to be as far as line, but he did have some pretty good style points. If he could go through competition using a little bit less of handbrake, that would definitely help him out as well.
The run was aggressive. The run looked like it had a little bit too much grip. Maybe they left the settings from last night where they were and everything was working and then the conditions changed today. I don't know what happened, but he was definitely shallow on pretty much all of the zones, as you could see from the drone footage as we were going around that turn. And that's the beautiful thing about having that giant TV is we can see very, very accurately where or where not the car is. And you could see these boxes that we have painted on the ground. We want basically the full car to be inside of those boxes. The rear wheels need to be on the very outside edge of that track, and that's what makes this so difficult. When you're in the car, you have no idea where you are. So that can be difficult for these drivers.
Yeah, we want to see the best of what these drivers can do right now. This is qualifying, so I want to see the drivers as deep into these outer zones, basically getting almost the rear tire into the dirt, just like that. We have Jake Little out there for his first qualifying run. Sharp on both inner clips, heading into the outer zones.
Little bit of left foot braking and a small dirt drop as Jake rails this outside zone. See, that's exactly where you wanted to be, and then he pulled himself out of it.
Wow, very impressive. Very
impressive. It was a good run, and he was in the zone and then accelerated himself out of it.
That's one of those drivers when we saw them come off the trailer yesterday, struggling for the first practice session, kind of got it towards the latter half of the day yesterday, but today stepped it up. That was a great first run from Jake Little.
He does get to do it again. Hopefully his spotter is in his ear saying, hey man, you need to stay in that zone a little longer than 2.5 seconds.
Yeah, a lot of people on their second run, first runs, they go a little conservative, traditionally try to get a score on the board, just try to get in place again. We have 16 cars here, so as long as you put down a score on the board, get it into the burnout box, you're going to be going into competition. Now in a second run, I want to see if he throws a little bit more flair into it, a little bit more style.
I hope so. Once that conservative run's on the board, you have a score. You're in the show. Now you can step it up. I want to see him turn this thing to 11. Let's see if he can do that.
Great looking car out there. Also, one of my favorite C6s that we have out here today. RTS all over the car. Rick is here with him in the pits, so you know he's got good equipment in the car as well.
Solid setup as he comes blasting down the front. Nice and outside on that front outer touch and go zone. Right on that inner as he blasts across the touch and go on the outside.
Coming into the final turn as well. Set himself up a little bit late. Hesitated on throttle. Now he's hammered down. Smoke screening through the finish line. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he did better filling the zones this run, but his aggression was pulled back a bit.
He definitely was where he needed to be. He stayed in the outer zone longer. He could have been a little bit deeper, but he was definitely in that box the entire outside of that curve.
It was a proper run. I'd like to see a little bit more style. Again, I want to see drivers out here with as much angle, hitting the bump stops out of the front wheels, carrying that speed into transitions, making it snappy, making it exciting for everybody. So I think he's going to score high on the line score, but definitely losing some on angle and style.
Speaking of that style thing, it's like we want to see these drivers basically act like they're going to drive the car at 150 miles an hour off the track, somehow save it, and get everybody standing up out of their seats and cheering for them. That's what we're looking for when we're talking about that style aspect of things.
Yeah, style is definitely my favorite thing to judge out here in drifting. You don't need to know a whole lot about drifting to see a high style scored run. That's when you're going to see the car almost spinning out through every single zone. That's what's exciting, holding the speed.
And here we go, Zach Ferris. He was a late entrant, came in today.
Oh no,
getting a little wobbly.
That's not how you get around this course. When you see those front wheels come to center lock or no drift, that's going to be a massive deduction on his part, putting him at the lower half of the bracket. No wheel smoke either coming out the car. I don't know if he's struggling from mechanical.
I'm assuming that didn't sound quite right. For those of you that could hear this, it didn't sound quite like it did in practice. He's maybe a cylinder or 6 down.
Yeah, he's struggling out there. That was not a great run. Maybe it was enough to put him up on the board for his first run. He might be calling a little bit of a timeout to address the car, but we're seeing him head back to the start grid now.
Yeah, he came out today, got about 4 laps in, and was like, you know what, I'd still like to party. I want a shot at winning $4,000 US. We got $4,000 for first place, $2,500 for second, and $1,000 for third place here. And we have the Spirit of Drifting Award.
My favorite award, the Spirit of Drift Award, is going to be handed out to any of the drivers that we have out here, making sure that they throw down the sickest runs, the gnarliest tandem runs that we can see. Whoever puts out there, they may not be the actual winner of the event, but they're going to be the winners of our hearts. They're going to win a free set of Conseil wheels.
That is amazing. And in drifting, you can't have enough wheels. A lot of these guys coming out here with a set of 10 or more wheels already mounted with some fresh meats. Speaking of meats, we got Kenda Tires as one of our main sponsors here on that 275 tire rule. But let's see what Zach can do on his second run, coming at you in that Drift Riot C6 Corvette as he blasts in. It's looking a lot better. Still a little bit wobbly through the first half of the course.
Does not look like he has the horsepower to get it around. He's really struggling getting that car to angle. You're seeing puffs of smoke coming off his front tires. That's because he's left foot braking. Right foot down heavy through the finish line. Definitely better than his first run.
Very much better. First half of the course was good entry. Little bit wobbly through this middle section, but then absolutely railed that last outer zone.
Yeah, he's on throttle through most of his runs, so I think he's struggling with some type of mechanical issues. He can also do a little bit of a cheater, pump up the tire pressure in that car, make it a slick, a little bit looser in the corners, and put off that wheel smoke if he has to get through, but it sounds like he's struggling with mechanical issues.
Now you do see our drivers doing the donuts down there. They're basically knocking the new off of the tires and getting a little bit of heat into them. You do not want to blast down a straightaway at near 100 miles an hour on a brand new set of tires because they've got this coating from the factory that keeps them nice and fresh. You want to get that coating off. And you want the tires to have a little bit of heat so you have the grip when you pitch the car in. So that's why those guys are down there doing the donuts.
Again, these cars are only getting about 2 to 4 laps per pair of tires on the back of them. These cars are running a spec tire series, so it's only up to a 275 tire, and they have to be 200 tread wear or higher as well. So these are DOT approved tires, same tires that we can put on our cars back at home, and they're getting the most grip they can out of these. We're seeing some guys out there even on a 255, a little bit lighter car.
It all depends, yeah. So again, high horsepower with a less wide tire is a little bit harder to control than a wider tire on a low horsepower car. So those guys are able to use all of it, where the other guys are having to pedal back a little bit. Looks like we've got a change. We had somebody doing donuts out there, and I think they may have been the wrong person. Now we got Jason Buchanan.
Gorgeous looking FRS come down straight. He only got a couple practice runs in yesterday. Said, I feel confident in the car. I'm ready to rip. Big flick initiation, filling the whole touch and go, passing the inner, full throttle. That car is fast.
Look at that speed Jason Buchanan has as he chucks her on in, pulling himself out of that zone. See if he can get back into it, and he does. A little bit late into that last outer zone, but nailed the back half of that. That was a very exciting run, Greg.
Yeah, he had trouble setting himself up for that last outer zone. We saw a bit of a bobble coming out from the rear end of the car, but he had some speed going through this track.
He was absolutely blasting, and that's what the judges want to see. They want to see the front of that car pointed directly at our beautiful crowd out here at the maximum amount of angle and speed that they can get through this section. That's where the judges are sitting. That's going to make the most impact, is right here.
I've seen better runs out of him through practice. I'm actually willing to say right now, he's going to go 110 on this run to try and max out those points.
I want to see all of it.
Big flick initiation, lots of style, throttle commitment throughout. Basically, we don't want to hear the car come off throttle if at all possible. We have one decel zone on this track, which is where the car will actually slow down and set themselves up. That decel zone is right there before the last turn. Let's see what he can put down on this run. Little flick from it, more of a handbrake drag initiation on this run. Trying to keep the speed up. Again, blasting through this course.
Absolutely cooking. That level of commitment through this section is beautiful, and he does get into the zone a little bit earlier. Not much, but a little earlier. Let's see if it's going to be enough from our judging panel to see if he gets a better score. But solid run from Jason Buchanan in the TV show. All right, up next we got Juan Seguero coming at you guys in an E36 BMW.
He's one of the few cars out here. We hear clutch kick. Oh no, Juan, that's not great. Coming out of drift. From the gravel. Did a great job keeping on track.
You can't park there.
That's not how you do it. No, we heard him clutch kicking going into that turn. Definitely not carrying enough speed. Wheel smoke was down. I feel like he does have a lower horsepower car out here. But four-door E36s are known to be some of the best drift cars to start out for a chassis. With that LS engine, we know that he can put down an impressive score.
Yeah, 100%. I think he was just struggling. I think all these wonderful people in our audience today are making him a little bit nervous. I'm just going to go out on a limb and say that was a crowd-induced error, not a driver error, 100% crowd-induced. You guys made him nervous. I think you need to make a little more noise, and maybe he'll get the memo to do better this time.
I heard a lot of oh no's coming from the crowd halfway through his run. I think the driver heard it as well and just kind of gave up.
That happens sometimes. There's a lot of eyeballs on him, not only just on the internet, but out here in the crowd.
Watching him in practice, I've been seeing him a little bit more comfortable in the chase position as well.
He's definitely been more comfortable in chase. His leads have been a little bit struggly, but that's okay. He's got one more run to show our judges that he can complete this course.
Yeah, let's see if he goes through the track with a little bit more throttle commitment speed. I'd like to see him maybe do a flick entry so he could keep that speed that he's carrying from the start line through the rest of the track.
I'd like to see him complete the lap.
I would like to see him drift. That would be fun.
And here we go as he chucks in. It's looking a lot better. He's got more throttle. He's got more commitment.
Using a lot less angle, a lot less aggression. Says, hey, I'm just trying to put a score down the board now, maintaining drifting, coming up.
Buddy, you can do it. Clutch kick.
Finish line. Let's go.
There we go.
All right, putting a score down.
I think he felt all the positive vibes coming out here from the crowd. We don't want to see anybody fail. We want to see these guys do good. Definitely. We want good battles. So thank you, crowd, for giving him those vibes he needed to complete the lap.
A bit of a timid run for sure, but it's enough to put a score on the board, and that's what we need to see going into top 16 competition. He's going to have to do a lot of mental preparation, though, going for competition, because we're going to need to see a lot more aggression coming out. Again, these cars need to put down a great lead run because they're going to be chased by a follow driver in comp. So if you have an unchaseable lead run where the chase driver can't really match your angle or your speed, it could be a big deficit on his half.
Yeah, it's difficult. So when you have a spotter in your ear saying, hey, you should probably hang back a little bit from this driver, he hasn't been the most consistent, that could be a problem for both of you. So here we go. We're on to our next qualification score.
Lex out here in the green Corvette, missing body panels, going straight right through that inner clip, struggling to make the car settled.
You can see those major corrections he made here in the power alley as he chucks it in and rides that line. He is in and out of that zone like 4 or 5 times. Not the best run we've seen from him, but he has been struggling with the car through all the practice yesterday. He missed the first session, got in for some of the second session, and then proceeded to blow the rest of his body panels off in the midst of doing so.
It wasn't impressive, but it was cool to watch, I will say that. He is coming out here with completely new suspension setup. So he has WiseFab on all 4 corners of that car, and if you're not familiar with WiseFab, it's what helps the car get lock to lock and achieve all that angle at drift. So he's really got a lot to dial in. He's also out here on brand new Fortunato coilovers, so the car's acting completely new, so he's getting used to it. However, he does have competition coming up in a couple hours, so he needs to get used to it and used to it quick.
I don't know if qualification is the time to get used to the car, Greg, but I mean, some people are going to do that, and that's okay. We're all out here having a good time, and the best part is that as these guys are driving, when they finish their run, it doesn't even matter. They're going to have the biggest smile on their face as he blasts down. Let's see how fast he can go. Good chuck on the entry all the way to the outside of the track as he comes through the power alley. A little bit of that wobble we saw, but not as much as before as he chucks in to the last outer zone.
Definitely set. Oh no! And as I say, he set himself up better through the middle section of the track. It all came down and fell apart for him in the last turn. He was not on throttle quick enough for those Corvettes. Corvettes generate so much rear grip that if you're not on throttle, it's going to come out of drift. Those cars are made for road track racing, and out here trying to get them to slide loose, it's a lot harder than it looks. They just, wherever you point a Corvette, it's where it wants to go.
And I think that may have been just a misshift. So, you know, when you're getting on a freeway entry and you floor it a little bit and then you accidentally misshift and you go into 5th gear and then you just pretend like it didn't happen. That's what he just tried to do right now.
You're trying to tell me he was trying to grab 5th gear? Is that what you're trying to say?
I'm not insinuating. I'm just hypothesizing. He may or may not have just missed that.
Now we got guy out there, gorgeous S13S. That's a very impressive section right there through the middle of the track, heading to the last turn, filling that full rear zone. He must have just drank a Red Bull or something. I have not seen a run like that come out of him all day. That was very impressive.
That was absolutely beautiful. What a heater of a run from Guiley.
He's been struggling all day, today's practice. I mean, struggling might be a little bit harsh. He just didn't have it all put together.
You know what? I think he was just saving it for qualification. I think he was like, you know what? I'm going to trick him. I'm going to put down some squirrely runs in practice and then absolutely lay it down in qualification.
Wasn't showing us his card still right now. That's a bold move, Dan.
That's a real bold move, but we love to see it. That's what the Drift Challenge here at LS Fest Texas is all about. Progression and trying to claim that $4,000 check.
$4,000 will definitely put some stress on you. Now let's see how consistent he is. I want to see if he can do that same run back-to-back, already lighting up the tires from the start. Little flick initiation to a big handbrake drag through that touch and go. Sharp on the inner, both inners, full
Then again. Look at that door smoke, ladies and gentlemen, as he blasts all the way to the outer zone. Enters before. Oh my goodness gracious. Maybe that rear wing did help. Holy smokes.
That was sick.
That was an amazing, to me, as not a judge, that was the best run that I've seen today. The most smoke, the most commitment, and filled the zones the best that we've seen so far. So I very, very much think that could be one of the highest qualifying scores yet.
I can't wait to go back to the pits and give him a pat on the back. That was so sick. Full throttle all the way through this first outer zone right in front of us. No left foot brake, no handbrake, just grabbing gears, flooring it all the way through. I love that run by him.
Hopefully, when you guys walk away from this competition, when you walk away from this qualification session today, you go back and you found your favorite driver out here. You found your favorite car. You know what you want to see. You need to go give those guys a crispy high five in the drift pits and let them know you're excited.
Mike Phillips down his first qualifying run. Beautiful C6 coming through. Little shallow on that outer zone there. Like to see him a bit deeper. Timid set it up into the last outer zone as well. Lit off the tires a bit late. I will say that. You see how he set himself up into that zone and was just waiting to get back on throttle?
It was kind of a lazy transition, but you could see he's still stoked on that run. It felt good.
It was a score. It was definitely a score for the board. Missed a couple of the zones in front of us, or not as deep in the zones as we like to see them. However, these guys have really stepped it up from the first practice session.
100% agree with that. Again, this is one of the more difficult tracks in any of the tours that we do here for the Drift Challenge, and we were just in Vegas. That one was in a parking lot. This is actually on a road course, and it is a extremely fast road course at that.
This is not only one of the fastest tracks that we're going to see on the LS Fest Tour, but this is one of the fastest tracks, period, in drifting in the U.S. That speed that these drivers are reaching when they get to initiation is almost triple digits, and they have to maintain that speed up until the last turn with only wind decel area.
Full commitment. There's no lifting. There's no e-brake dragging. You got to be on it, or you're not going to make it to that last turn.
And I'll tell you what, it's going to be really exciting when we go into the top 16, seeing two cars out there tandeming as well. We're telling them to keep the speed all the way up, and now we're going to ask to put another car on track with them to maintain proximity. You're going to see some hairy situations. You're going to see some action. You might see some wrecks.
And that's the beauty of drifting. We're here for all of the above. Choice D. So we got Mike Phillips back up for his second run, checking with our start line guy out there in his beautiful limiter gloves.
Hopefully.
Another sponsor of this series. Again, we love to support the companies that support the Drift Challenge. We're all in this sport together, and we're just happy to have a place to do it, like out here at Texas Motor Speedway, with all you beautiful folks watching with us live and on the internet.
Yeah, hopefully it's the spotters in his ear a little bit. Tell him, hey man, you got to go a bit deeper into these zones. We want to see a little bit more speed coming through the track. And the hesitation that you gave into the last outer zone, that's got to go out the window. We want to see full commitment on that big sweeper.
Agreed. That's going to be the determining factor, is that transition from the spot in front of the judges to that last outer zone. And here we go, Mike Phillips with the big chuck in, riding that line all the way on the outside. Beautiful on that front end, a little bit wobbly coming through the power alley.
Yeah, a bit of hesitation coming through the middle section, but he set himself up very early for that last outer zone. Let's just hear him pin it to win it, baby, all the way through the last turn, trying to get through those RPMs, not backing up at all. Oh, little tire drop there at the latter half of the track. That car is putting off smoke off throttle.
I don't know about you guys, but that was a tidal wave of smoke that came off of his car right at the end. It looped around like those photos of the airplanes blasting through. That was sick.
I don't know how he did it, but I want my car to do that.
We need to learn how to train our smoke trails.
Next on line, we have Caleb Quadback, one of my favorites out here, sponsored by Walter, big gun guy.
Big gun guy. Also, pro BMXer. That dude can absolutely rip on a 20-inch bike. It's good to see him. He brought it with him. He's out there popping 180s, 360s, and bar spins out in the pits. Caleb Quadback, very, very good driver, very consistent driver. I've driven with him a few times out in Florida. Super fun guy to hang out with. Glad to have him here. He was out of Vegas too, so this is his second LS Fest of the year doing these drift challenges. It's nice to see some familiar faces, you know.
It is, and he's one of those guys that's good at everything, like you kind of caught me up on it. Pro BMX rider out here as well as being a pro in our hearts for drift competition. That E4060 he's built is absolutely gorgeous. You have time after this, after demo qualifying, go to the hot pits. Go check out these cars.
Now, Greg, it's a BMW.
It is a BMW.
What motor is supposed to be in that BMW?
Really bad sounding 6 cylinders.
Agreed. What motor is in that currently?
That's a 427 naturally aspirated, makes gobs of horsepower, just over 600 horsepower actually.
That's a beautiful thing, and it sounds infinitely better than the motor it came with.
Absolutely. It looks better too. Whenever you have that air intake coming out the hood, it's intimidating. Look at the flick he's coming into.
Oh, track edge to track edge as Quadback. Absolute heater of a run as he blasts through. Fills that entire zone, full commitment into the last outer.
Good golly almighty, look at that wheel smoke, boys and girls. That is all the way fully black.
Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Caleb Klondike.
Oh my goodness! Now, Caleb's good.
He can't even see out of the car.
That was a great run.
The cab is filled with smoke. The crowd is loving it. Thank you. That was a great run, Caleb.
Absolutely insane, setting himself up. That initiation.
We got the judges clapping.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that may be a better score than the last one we thought was going to be the best score.
We're not supposed to sway the judges, but judges, that should be your top score, absolutely.
I agree with that. I hope that is now our number one qualifier. We don't have that data at this very moment in time, but we will keep you guys updated when we get it.
He was exciting right from the start. He was on the wrong side of the track, setting himself up for a fate initiation.
Yeah, that entry was literally track edge to track edge. That was a beautiful. That run was a thing of beauty.
I just want to see him do it again. I wish I had a replay.
How is he going to one up that? That's my question. Can he one up that?
Just more throttled. More. Oh, he's doing it again.
Let's see what he's got, ladies and gentlemen. Caleb Klondike in the E46, screaming through.
He's not even coming off throttle. You see him stabbing that left foot brake to slow the car down a little bit, but he does not want to lift at all. Heavy on the throttle, no clutch kicks, no decel. That is just matted all the way through the
beautiful run. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that I did like his first run better. There were a few more mistakes on that one.
Oh, harsh.
But they were both phenomenal.
They were both phenomenal. He made both on first and second.
He's going to be up against himself in top 16. That's going to be an interesting battle.
Love to see it. No, that's going to be judged very heavily on the style judge up there. We have 3 judges. One's judging angle, which is the angle of the car that it's maintaining through drift. We have a line judge where the car's positioned on track. And then we have a style judge, which is exactly what we just saw. Stylish, aggressive.
The style was oozing from that run, and that's what we want to see. That's what gets the crowd pumped up here at LS Fest Drift Challenge in Texas at Texas Motor Speedway. We're pumped to be out here. We're almost halfway through our qualification here.
Can we ask for Caleb Klondike to come back out and do a third run?
I'm in. I vote for that.
Oh, we do have the score. Mule?
Kind of.
And here we go. Blasting through.
Kevin Susie really coming through, trying to put down a good score. Brought 2 cars out here with him to track, said, I'm going to pick the better of the 2. He settled on the pink car, and that was a pretty good run.
I think that was one of his best runs of this weekend so far. Yesterday he brought 2 cars with him. Weird flex, but okay. He drove 1 car and then was afraid that the motor was going to pop and then switched to another car for the back half of practice, which is a bold move, Cotton.
And then he went back to the car where he thought the motor was going to pop, so we might see a motor blow.
Back to the original car. So now he's flip-flopped twice, and he had to pick a car at the end of the day, and that was going to be the one he qualified in, and that's the car you see there. So that's the car he rolled the dice, and it was a decent run. It sounded like he was bogging down on that last clip, having a little bit of a problem getting the RPMs back up, but we'll see what he can do for his second run.
Yeah, with this hot weather out here, the track conditions are completely different than what we saw yesterday. So I think a lot of these guys are coming out here with the setup that they put in their car yesterday and realizing it might be a little bit too gripped up right now.
I think so, and it was overcast. It was a little cooler, but we're going to see what Kevin can do today. Beautiful looking S14. That is a classic car now with a big old V8 in it and the huge flick just like Caleb Klondike. Not quite as deep into that first. All of that 400 horsepower work. Let's send out some positive vibes for Ferris in the lowest horsepower car here as a wonderful human being initiates into that outer zone. He got it this time. Let's see if he can maintain the momentum as he blasts through the power alley. He's putting it together, ladies and gentlemen.
Keeping the car less of drift, left angle, but trying to carry the speed out to that ladder zone. Back up throttle, exactly where he needed to be. There it is. Pulling it out. Coming back from a 0 to
You guys struck again. You absolutely did it. Thank you for those vibes. He got the memo. He did what he needed to do and put that car in every place that it could. That car could not have been driven better. That thing was at 100% of everything.
Now we have Jake Wise up on the line. Now this is great. This is Ferris's actual competition
So
car.
yes, back to back. That is Ferris's car. That's the car that he practiced all day in yesterday, got comfortable in, and then was like, yeah, man, here's the keys.
Yeah, gave away his competition car, Jake Wise. Jake has won LS Fest Texas twice now. Let's see if he can make it to third. He's only had, what, 3 laps in this car?
In a car, yeah, that isn't his. So can he beat everybody in a borrowed car.
I'm going to go on a limb and say he's going to put down a spectacular run. He's a great driver. Great drivers can drive pretty much anything.
We did get word from his spotter that he was like, man, I need to buy a Corvette now. I have been converted. It's already LS swapped, for Pete's sake.
Let's see what he does. Flying down the station, little bit of a flick, but deep into the... That's a lot of speed passing this interzone. Some of the highest speed that we've seen yet. Still on throttle, letting the car decel.
That was definitely the highest speed we've seen through the power alley, and he is all the way in that outer zone's business as he crosses the finish line in a borrowed car.
We got to get this guy a Corvette.
Oh my goodness.
I can't believe he just did that. Coming out of a Nissan S14 that behaves completely different.
The difference in those chassis is like night and day. Where the engine placement is, the way that the car handles, the steering, the grip level in the rear, and for him to just jump in another chassis like that and shred a lap like that is absolutely insane.
I can't even drive other cars when the seat isn't how I like it. The seating place, these are fixed seats in the cars. He can barely see over the dash and is still throwing down absolute heaters.
I'm hoping they're similar heights, but I don't think that they are. Hey, we got a little parade going on the back straight there. Check that out.
Oh, I want to do that.
Well, that's easy. Yeah, we could. It's really steep. It's surprisingly steep out there on the NASCAR track. For those of you that haven't driven on a NASCAR track, it's awkwardly steep.
LS Fest really has it all.
LS Fest does have it all.
Again, Jake Wise out here on his second run. So fast, even faster
Look at
than
that speed.
He had to slow it down a bit with some left foot brake.
Very, very slight lift the throttle as he blasts back into that outer zone. You can see that level of commitment. Again, it's a tough thing to do in a car that you have no seat time in.
So now we see some good lead runs from qualifying runs, of course. I want to see if he can step it up now that we see him going into competition, what he does in chase position.
I can't wait to see him tandem with that car. Those things have an insane amount of forward bite. So when you're lunging into the car in front of you, it's a lot. Corvettes do that better than I think any chassis out there, including BMWs. I will venture out on the limb and say that those things are the grip lords of drifting.
They are, and he is like one of the most aggressive drivers out here, without a doubt. So
I agree. He's probably has a few laps here since he was the champion twice in a row.
Now, if you were in a borrowed car, would you risk it for the biscuit?
I have been known to do that from time to time. I have risked it for said biscuit, and a lot of times I end up crashing. So kudos to him for not doing that.
Now we have Nate Hamilton online. We saw the last practice run. Nate Hamilton was out there, went off track, had to get towed off, had some mechanicals.
On a flatbed. It wasn't even like a, hey, let's hook a tow strap up. There were some broken components. So shout out to Nate Hamilton's team for getting that car back together. It even looks nice still. They got the bumper back on, and here comes Nate Hamilton in a freshly fixed car as he chucks on in. He has no idea how this car is going to sound as he brushes that first hitter clip all the way on the outside. Again, he has no idea how this car is going to handle.
He's going out there like nothing ever even happened. That was a lot of angle off initiation, and he carried it all the way through the track. That's a lot of angle in that last outer again. That is our local driver, Little Tex, about 25
Make
minutes.
some noise for that local driver.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh, my goodness. Again, he had no idea how that car was going to handle, and you would have never known that he went flying off the track and bent or broke possibly 2 or more suspension arms in the front of that car.
That's an old car, too. That's a 1989 Nissan 240SX, so he needs to basically restore the car as he's fixing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's restoration is a word for that. Now, us 240 guys, you know, in our $40,000 classic cars.
I got my car for free 15 years ago. Now it's worth $40,000. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, man. It's you know what you got.
Well, I have a
what we're
beautiful
saying.
240SX for sale. $40,000. Everybody wants to give it to me.
Used to be drift tax, and now it's we've ruined all the cars tax.
What car did you flip?
And here we go, Nate Hamilton blasting off through the chicane at the start line. Let's see if he can one-up that run. He just got his first practice run on his new setup, and here he goes, chucking all the way to angle. That may be the most angle we've seen out of the entry as he's blasting through. High throttle commitment.
Set himself up early for the zone, really maintaining angle. It looks like a safer line from him, but heavy right foot, dumping more and more and more angle as he got through the turn. That's definitely helped him out. Still drifting the back straight. I like that. Can we just keep doing that too?
I think what that meant was he was a little stoked on that run. He was stoked on being pumped. I think you guys liked it too. I know we liked it down here on the judging table. Hopefully our judges liked it. I don't know. I can't get a vibe from those guys right now. I'm staring into the sun, looking up at them. They're beautiful, beautiful people.
Oh, I'm seeing my favorite up at the line right now, Taylor. I'm actually going to stand up for this run, hold the 3 up in the air because that's my favorite.
Are you doing it for Dale right now?
I'm doing it for Dale, baby.
You're doing it for Dale. Taylor Hall out there also doing it for Dale.
Taylor Hall is definitely a pro driver. He knows exactly what he's doing out there. One of the prettiest ugly cars I've ever seen in my life.
It's got a heart of gold, being a Corvette,
yeah,
and the soul of a Monte Carlo, and I don't even know what that means.
He's a circle track driver that came drift, has gone back to circle track, and now he's here at LS Fest bringing his drift car back out, surprising us with a Monte Carlo body mounted onto a C6 Corvette. It's got a rear mount radiator. This thing is absolutely insane when it goes out. Be sure to watch this driver. The amount of angle he's going to carry through the track. Massive flick. One of the biggest flicks we've seen all day today. Back up deep into the outer zone.
They were all absolutely on a tear as he rounds out into the back one right in the lightning. Doing it for Dale, ladies and gentlemen. Taylor Hall. What an absolute heater of a run that was, Greg.
Serious conversation. I need a serious answer for you.
Seriously.
Seriously, do you like how it looks?
Absolutely, maybe. I'm on the fence. I love that it's different.
That's a nice thing you can say about it. I love that it's different.
Yes, it is. It is different. I may not be a Monte Carlo guy or anything pre-1980, but I can appreciate it for what it is.
You know, he gets an A+ for effort. He's really trying.
Speaking of Monte Carlo,
hard to go. We see Monte Carlo on the backside of the track. That's what it's supposed to look like.
He's twinning right now.
The Dale Earnhardt livery goes hard, though.
Yeah, it does.
It does.
And it's so fitting to Taylor's personality.
I don't even think his racer number is 3. I think it's a different number, but he just rocks a giant 3 on his door.
I can't say I blame him. I mean, he's living that dream.
Now, if I know Taylor, and I do, he's going to throw even more angle, more aggression on this track. He's going to try and get those points as close to 100 as possible. Coming straight from the chicane. Oh, he is cooking it, boys. He is cooking it.
And here we go.
Max angle. It looks like he's about to spin out. Heavy throttle.
That LS is praying to sweet baby Jesus. 6 pound, 8 ounce baby Jesus. On the limiter, ripping the chip. Doing it for Dale. Taylor Hall.
That car makes me feel smoke even when he's off throttle. That car is just so impressive to get around this track. I think I'm going to go home and look for a Corvette for sale.
And resell it into something weird?
I'm into it. Fan.
Look at these guys. They're actually playing NASCAR down the straightaway down here.
Give me the rental car. I'm hitting the big track.
Tip the minivan? Is that what we're doing?
Listen, if I could come out to LS Fest and you're saying whatever I drove to the track, I could put on a NASCAR track, yeah, I want to do that.
That is a pretty cool opportunity.
It's a once in a lifetime
I'm a little
opportunity.
bit jealous.
Yeah, if you're here at LS Fest, go figure out how to get your car up on that track too. Doesn't matter if you brought
just get a Prius, throw an LS into it, and then you too could be out on a NASCAR track.
There's drag cars out there. There's parachute cars on a NASCAR track.
That's a full chunk of America right there. That don't get no American than that.
I've been watching these cars. A couple of these cars that we're seeing on the back stretch popping wheelies out in the drag strip earlier. Really impressive drag racing that we have on the front straight. Keegan? Yeah, Leap. Keegan
Leap up on the line. One of the lower horsepower cars, but he's absolutely been ripping. Let's see what he can do. Different style entry than you guys have seen. Not a big flick, just nice and easy into it as he rounds out that power alley, making lots of smoke, making lots of noise.
We're seeing a lot of disturbance coming from the front end of the car, trying to get the car to settle. Now it looks like it's hooked. That car does really, really well on throttle, but you saw when he came off throttle in the middle section of the track, he had to make some small corrections with his front steering wheel. Judges saw that, we saw it, y'all saw it. It's going to be a deduction from him, but still a pretty good run.
Again, I think what he's working with, he's doing absolutely fantastic. If he had a little more chutzpah on that thing, if he had the beans, as it were, he may have been able to carry out into those zones a little easier. Again, with a lower horsepower car, it is more difficult to maintain. You literally have to drive the car at 105%, which is an impossible thing to do sometimes.
I feel like if you had a Monte Carlo swap Corvette, it would have been a 100-point run.
Well, I mean, that just gives you bonus horsepower, especially having that number 3 on the door.
Get this man a decal.
Hit this man a 3 stat. All right, everybody, put out those 3s for Keegan as he blasts down the straightaway again. We're sending out positive vibes. We want to see speed. We want to see noise. Drift challenge here at LS Fest Texas. Keegan chuck it through nice on the inner, making smoke. Oh my goodness.
Way smoother through the track right now. Had that car settle. I guess he heard me on the mic or something like that, but he really got that car to lock. Back on throttle earlier. I'm not hearing any throttle corrections coming from right now through the track. Way better than his first run.
That was a much better run for Keegan. Absolute heater.
You like the 350Z?
I love to hate the 350Z.
You have one.
I have 3.
Oh man, that's like 3 big mistakes you made in your life.
It's a problem. Unfortunately, none of mine have V8s in them, which also makes my heart sad.
That's what makes it cool. A V8 swap 350Z is cool.
That's a beautiful thing. That's why you put LS's. LS the world is what we say.
I do love coming to LS Fest. It's like just pure acoustic joy to my ears. I love coming out here.
Pure America.
We all done now? What? We're all done with qualifying?
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to round out our qualification. Our judges have judged appropriately. We are going to be back on at 3:30 in the p.m. for our top 16 competition. You do not want to miss that. We will see you very, very shortly. So thank you guys so very, very much from the bottom of our hearts over here online on the stream. We'll see you guys at 3:30 for the best tandem action you'll see on this part of the United States at Holley LS Fest Texas. This is the Drift Challenge. This has been Officer Dan and Greg Busel. We will see you in just a few.
The RaceQuip Pro 25 is the evolution of our best-selling Pro 20, now Snell SA 2025 certified for the next cycle. It delivers pro-level protection at a grassroots price. Proven, certified, get yours at racequip.com. Holley's low ram and ultra low ram intakes are now available for all LS3 engines. If you're looking for a powerful induction setup for your LS3 and don't want to massage or replace your hood, Holley's low ram and ultra low ram manifolds are just the ticket. Designed specifically for turbocharged and supercharged applications, the short high flow runners maximize power at high RPM. Best of all, these low ram manifolds can be configured to your liking. Here's some of the options you can choose from. The low ram manifold allows current high ram plenum tops to be fitted to the low profile manifold. It's designed to allow for a plenum mounted intercooler for a shorter overall height than possible with other existing manifolds. The ultra low ram manifold has a very low profile. With a custom throttle body adapter, you can easily create new inlet packaging solutions. You can choose between single or dual fuel injectors for either the low ram or the ultra low ram versions. This opens up the door to high volume fuel demands such as methanol combinations and even flexible fuel strategies. Ultra low ram plenum tops can also be optioned out with or without a burst panel flange. A billet aluminum burst panel exit duct is also available. And finally, you can choose between satin or black matte powder coat finishes. If you're looking for maximum power in a small package, look no further than Holley's low ram manifolds. Build your induction setup at holley.com. Engine swaps are now easier with Holley Swap Essentials for LS and LT engines that fit into most popular 60s through 90s GM cars and trucks. Offered in 5 different levels with savings that stack along the way. Holley Swap Essential packages are designed for any budget, from engine and transmission mounts to oil pans, full exhaust systems, and front accessory drives. All packaged components work together for a hassle-free installation. Learn more about Holley Swap Essentials at holley.com.
Introducing the all-new Hans 4, lighter, safer, and more versatile. Certified to SFI and FIA standards, it's perfect for all racers. With advanced motion control and custom padding, the Hans 4 delivers unmatched comfort and protection. Upgrade your safety today at thehansdevice.com.